Hello everyone, this is Sakia Mazid, and for our project for the intercultural the film we have chosen is The Farewell, and it is the collision between the Eastern and the Western cultures. And in our group, we have our group leader, YIGE, SHIYU, FENG ZHAOQIAN, and lastly me, Sakia. For the introduction of the film review, we have why cross-cultural communication matters and how the farewell helps us understand it. In today's global world, people live and work across different cultures. The good cross-cultural communication helps us in three ways. The three ways are firstly, work better with people from other cultures. Secondly, avoid misunderstanding and conflict. And the very last one is adapt to new environments and grow in our careers. The farewell shows five key points to cultural shapes communication. The first one is collectivism versus individualism. The second one is white lies, high context versus low context cultures. The third one is nonverbal communication. The fourth one is cultural values shaped views on death. And the lastly, silence as cultural strategy. That's it for the introduction, and I'll be passing it to the next person. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Gao Yige, and I will present the movie summary. The movie The Farewell tells the story of a Chinese American girl named Billy, who returns to China to visit her grandmother, who has cancer. Out of traditional ideas, her family decided to conceal her illness. Billy initially insists on telling the truth, but eventually realizes that this is a white lie, derived from the Eastern culture of collective responsibility. The film not only shows family affection, but also deeply reflects the differences between Chinese and Western cultures in values and communication methods. And the first argument is collectivism and individualism. It includes communication decisions. In the farewell, the family's decision to conceal the grandmother's illness reflects the value of taking responsibility for the family in Eastern collective culture, while in Western individualistic culture, such as Billy's honesty and individual right to know are the core of communication. In Eastern collective culture, the family is viewed as a closely connected whole, with collective interests taking precedence over individual interests. Billy's family decided to conceal her grandmother's illness out of a desire to protect her emotions and maintain family harmony. They believe that bearing the painful truth was a common responsibility of the whole family, reflecting the cultural logic of collective responsibility. Billy is deeply influenced by Western individualism and advocates that everyone has a right to decide and understand their own destiny. She believes that hiding the truth violates grandmother's right to know. Individuality culture emphasizes self-assertion, transparent communication, and respect for individual dignity, and regards honesty as a basic respect for people. The two cultural value systems determine different communication methods. The former emphasizes collective harmony and shared responsibility. The latter emphasizes individual rights and information transparency. This conflict is not about right or wrong, but the value difference in intercultural communication. Understanding these differences is the key to effective communication.
I will talk about the second argument. The different attitudes towards white lies in families reflect differences between high and low context culture. In high context culture, communication rely on nonverbal cues like hints, silence, and actions rather than direct words. And in the film, Billy's Chinese family follows this pattern. They choose to hide the truth about her grandmother's illness, believing that telling her would only cause unnecessarily emotional stress. So they organized a fake wedding as an excuse to gather the family. And no one talks about the illness, but the care is clear through laughter, togetherness, and a loving atmosphere. And this is typical of high context communication. Next. In low context culture, Billy grew up in a low context culture where communication emphasized being clear and direct. She believes her grandmother has the right to know the truth, so she feels confused when that her family has the truth. And in low context culture, hiding information can break trust and threaten personal freedom. And this creates conflicts for Billy between her culture and her family. So the film shows that the high context and the low context culture are different, but not opposite. Good intercultural communication needs empathy and the openness to understand each other's perspectives.
I'm Feng XIAOHAN. I will talk about how the farewell shows the importance of nonverbal communication in intercultural families. In many things, the family avoids speaking openly about grandmother's illness. The silence is not just about hiding the truth. It's part of their cultural way of showing love and protection. For example, during the family gatherings, emotions are shown through subtle actions. These noble cues help the characters express sadness and love. Without directly saying anything, we can understand this using Tin-to-Me identity negotiation theory. The theory explains that people express their cultural identity through both words and actions. In the film, noble behavior becomes a tool to balance different cultural values with the family.
In the movie, death is not just a part of the story, but the key moment where Chinese and Western cultures clash. In Chinese culture, people usually avoid talking first that family often has bad news to complicate the elderly because they believe the group is more important than the individual. So hating grandma illness is seen as love. But the Western culture, people believe everyone has the right to know the truth. Even Bout died, Billy said she has a right now to show her American values. At the first, Billy disagreed with the family truth, but later she began to understand and adapted to it. It shows how cultural values shape not only our idea about the dead, but also how we express love and make decisions.
Hello everyone, this is Sakia Mazid again, and I'll be talking about the very last argument, which is the silence as a cultural strategy in intergenerational communication. The farewell focuses on silence, which is not used as a way of evasion but as a Chinese value, including care and harmony. In the first part of the film, Billy questions the choice of not telling Nene that she is terminally ill by extended family. However, as the plot develops, she takes part in group rituals and she adjusts to the cultural demands and the loss of a person. The Griven trajectory portrays a combination of multiple theoretical constructs: culture fusion, mindful communication, and individualism, collectivism adoption model. Thank you.
I will talk about identity negotiation theory and how it relates to the film The Farewell. Immigrant children often face conflicts between two cultures. In this case, American individualism and Chinese collectivism. In the film, Billy tries to be honest and direct, but this conflict with her family's traditional values. The case is her to feel isolated and consider about where she belongs. As the story progresses, Billy learns to adjust her communication styles. She becomes more sensitive to her family's control expectations. Next page. The family decided to hand grandmother's illness to protect her dignity. This is an example of faith work, where the family values group harmony over individual truth. Billy has many roles. She is a writer, a grand doctor, and a Chinese American. Her identity changes depend on the situation and the people around her. Identity negation theory help us understand her emotional and control struggle. It shows that identity is not fixed and influenced by relationships and control. That's all.
Hello again, and I'll be talking about the last theory, which is the enlightenment of the intercultural communication. The essence of intercultural communication is negotiation rather than confrontation. In this movie, The Farewell, the aspect of intercultural communication is not presented as an encounter but as one of the negotiation. The protagonist, Billy, is an American born Chinese who has to reconcile the set of values her family taught her about being Chinese and the views the young woman has learned in America. Consistent with the argument that empathy is a more significant aspect compared to the understanding, the development of Billy shows the stress adaptation theory. Thus, the story represents the idea of a cultural fusion introduced by Chen and Saroska. Finally, the movie also highlights the importance of understanding and flexibility as the means of bridging the gap between different cultures. Thank you.
So the film is also show how communication depends on identity, power, and cultural connect. In Chinese families, which are high connect culture, people often say less but mean more. Family members use well line to protect each other. This is seen and keen and respectful. In the low connect culture, like the US, people prefer clear and honest words. Billy wanted to tell the truth to her grandma because he believes it is the right thing to do. But Billy's opinion is not strong in family. She is so young, unmarried, and lives abroad, so her voice is so weakened. This shows how power and identity affect family discussions. In the end, the video doesn't say which culture is so better. It shows a good intercultural communication need understand and respect, just not hustle or slide.
In conclusion, cultural differences include how people express emotions and communicate. In the film, Billy's struggle with her dual identity shows the challenges many immigrants face when balancing different cultural backgrounds. And in today's global world, effective cross-cultural communication requires empathy, attention to nonverbal cues, and mutual respect to bridge cultural gaps. Thank you for listening.